there, welcome to the show. Today I'm going to talk about favourite science fiction films, which for me is quite an easy list to make. Science fiction was probably the first genre that I really loved, and fantasy, so doing this list is really easy. It's much more like what I leave out, because I don't want to have it like everything that I've seen. So there's certain films that I don't have, like things like Godzilla, which is basically it's a science fiction cover, but it's really fantasy because these monsters could not really exist. So I kind of keep that away. I just keep that as basically a fantasy or a monster movie. So that kind of thing. I try and make it like there has to be some level of science in the film somewhere, even if it's, you know, we know Godzilla won't exist. Mothra's not going to exist. That's a fantasy thing. So these ones, the films themselves have to have some science involved, or take some level of science fiction ideas and put it into effect. So that's what my basis is. And then it's just a case of how much do I enjoy them. You know, some of these I love more than others, but I'm happy to watch them all, and they all made the list. So the first one is 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's an easy choice. It's one of my favourite films. It was one of the big films for me when I was a teenager, and it's kept on going. It's a beautiful film. I think I've talked about it enough. I don't have to explain it. It's just, just go watch the film. I should say I'll put this list at the bottom of the video as well on the description if you want to find my list on Letterboxd, because it is on Letterboxd, the list for this. So I'll put the link down below. So the next one is AI, Artificial Intelligence. It was started by a Stanley Kubrick film based on the Pinocchio idea. Kubrick died and Spielberg took over. It is a flawed film. I'll give it that. It's flawed. Spielberg sometimes has a thing of explaining something as a part, and it's like there's certain points we think Kubrick would not explain this. He'd have just let you figure it out yourself. But the first section is amazing. The first section with the robot boy and his mother and the family is amazing. The final section is terrific as well, as they're going through like the sunken New York. And the coda is wonderful because people don't quite get it in a weird way. It's very strange coda that a lot of people thought was a cop out, but it's actually not. It's about how machines who are infected by humanity can be destroyed by that. The midsection has a lot of good stuff, but it's also a bit cumbersome. It could have lost 10 minutes. It needed to just a bit more pep to it. I think it was like try to put everything in that Kubrick had done, and sometimes his pacing's a bit off, but it doesn't matter. I still enjoy the film. I still think there's lots of good stuff in there that above the exploration. It's been hideously underrated by lots of people. It's a film about AI that's actually much more prescient than people think, and about how we're going to deal with robots in the future. And it's probably very accurate, because even have thing about climate change and how like the water levels will rise and things like that, which I think is going to happen. So it's a wonderful film. Next is Akira, the Japanese anime film. Wonderful, insane film. It's kind of like the 2001 of Japanese anime movies, in the sense of it's really ambitious. It's a bit evolution, but this one's got bikes and it's got lots of characters yelling at each other. It's got weird corporations and it's got lots of paranoia, but also just has some mind-bending, flesh-bending stuff in it as well. It's kind of like just nuts. I mean, when you first watch it, you're not going to be able to follow it, and even if you rewatch it, it's like you're getting hints of what's going on, but it will kind of make your brain hurt really badly. So there you go. Next is Aliens. It's like, does this count as action? Does this count as horror? Does it count as science fiction? I'm counting as science fiction, even though you could say it was also action and horror. But I'm just putting it in the science fiction mode. It's a wonderful sequel that I actually prefer to the original. I mean, I like this one a lot more than the original. I know some people think the original is pure and blah blah blah. I just like this one a lot better. I think I've covered this before, how much I like this one more than the original. I just think it's more emotional, you're into the characters more, and it's like peak James Cameron era, so yeah, this is a wonderful film. I think it gets underrated because people are kind of in love with the original at the moment. I think people kind of underrate it slightly. But as time will come back into this, will come back in. I think it's one of those things is like they're into the originals now because it's like James Cameron made Avatar films. We don't like those, so let's say that the original Alien's better. And it's like that's not. All right, next is Arrival. This is the Denis Villeneuve film about aliens and time travel, and it's hard to explain, but it's actually about parenthood and about life and how life affects us and how the emotion of family and emotion of memory and emotion of loss. And it's a wonderful film because it is a science fiction film, but it has other elements to it. And I'm just a massive fan of this film. I think it's wonderful. The performances are terrific throughout for everybody. The atmosphere is great. It's very darkly lit, but in this case, it feels right for the film. A lot of films are darkly lit are just darkly lit to be pretentious. This one, no, it feels like this film should be darkly lit. So, yeah, this one's wonderful. Next is Back to the Future 2. Now, I like Back to the Future and Back to the Future 3, but I love Back to the Future 2 because it goes in and out of the original film, as well as going to the future. It's insane. It's got so many time travel elements, but also it's about like going into your own past and into your own future and messing with it and trying to find a shortcut to some success and to salvation when that's not the way to do it. And it's also just really funny and twisted, and it's got a great ending which will make half of the audience hate it because it's so brutal and sets up the next one. But it's a perfect ending for this film. So yeah, Back to the Future 2, I adore that one. Next is a recent film, The Beast. So stars Léa Seydoux and George McKay, and it's a love story over different time periods about different people remembering their past loves and how their souls came together in different time zones, and how people with a different soul actually how they evolve through time. It's very much like Cloud Atlas as well. Cloud Atlas is similar. Cloud Atlas didn't make this list because I haven't seen it recently, but it could have, and it does have the same feeling to it. This one's a bit more organised. Cloud Atlas is a bit more crazy. But they're both very good films. This one's on the list though, but I'd recommend both. So, this one's just two characters rather than lots of characters. I think it's easier to focus on the nuances a bit more. And the performances are terrific throughout, so I would definitely say just go watch it. It's really good, and it needs a bit more love because it came out, got good reviews, then disappeared. Next is Blade Runner 2049. I like the original Blade Runner, but I don't love it. It's that thing. It's one of those films that's like you're meant to love it. And it's like I like it. I'm never going to love it, but I love the sequel, the Villeneuve sequel, which I think is longer, but it feels much more like. Because I really love the book the original Blade Runner is based on, Android Dream of Electric Sheep, and this film feels more like it than Blade Runner did. About the absurdities of the AI and the absurdities of its ambitions, the idea of in the original book people are buying things to make themselves feel better. In this one, they've got a robot having a robot companion to make his life feel a bit better, and he's confused about his purpose in life, and just as the original Blade Runner, the original Dream of Electric Sheep character is. So it's more about that kind of confusion about identity and more about confusion in this world that's spreading out, and has no real control, and yeah, it's just a beautiful film. Ryan Gosling's the lead, and he's really good. Um, I think he's a better character than the Deckard character of the first one as well. So Anna de Armas is terrific as his artificial intelligence companion. There's a lot of stuff. Even Jared Leto is good in this film. Right. So next we have Children of Men, which is a terrific film. Before I rewatched it recently, it was on my it's a good film, but not a great one. When we watched it recently, it was like, no, this is a great film. This is really wonderful. As the idea is, people can no longer have children, and society has just collapsed into apathy and insanity, and people are just losing it, and the joy of life is gone. And there's terrorism, there's madness, there's camps of like refugee camps. It's sort of like humanity going to its worst, and what into this comes this pregnant woman who Clive Owen has to protect to get her out of the city, to get her to an area that's safe, so they can see what happened, and hopefully humanity's childbearing ability will come back. So no one knows, did it happen because of pollution? Did it happen for this, for that? Who knows? But it's happened. So it's a terrific film just about humanity facing the ultimate loss and how it deals with it. And in this case, it deals with it badly, but it's also about Clive Owen's character being cynical and starting to slowly get his humanity back as he sees the lack of humanity in other people. The best way to put it. Next is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's various cuts to this film. It's probably of these films, it's probably one of the weaker films for like pure enjoyment for me. But just the kind of whole idea of it, like this guy getting obsessed by aliens, and the emotion behind that, I think it really works. It's just when you get to the aliens, I don't think the aliens are actually that interesting. But the whole build to it, and the whole thing about it, and the kind of almost religious mania and the craziness of it all, I think really works and is really well done by Spielberg. It's just the aliens themselves are a bit vague, but it's still the really good stuff really delivers, and Dreyfuss in the lead is wonderful. And all the cast are wonderful in this film. So it gets a lot for getting most of it right. Next is Contact, the Robert Zemeckis film, and Zemeckis was good. This is the one that got some hate when it was released. Some people liked it like me, but other people were like, that ending was a bit weird. And it's like, the ending's not weird. It's understandable as the idea of humans get a message from alien culture, build this thing to reach us, and it's about human reaction to alien interaction, and it's also about how fast do humans evolve within that structure. Like, do we get paranoid, which we do? Do we get violent, which we do? And are we ready to go further with humanity? Even though we think we're ready to go further into the space, are we actually ready? And it's about that, in that sense of finding your own balance beyond your mania for achievement or for closure. It's like, what's better for everybody? What pace is better for everybody to go forward? Like, the whole idea is the aliens saw humanity's image and saw we're a violent species, and they reacted in kind to create something to tell us, you're getting there, but you need to, we're going to let you know we exist, but you need to evolve, you need to mature a little bit. And that's what's kind of the point of it, but it's kind of, a lot of people missed it. Next we have Crimes of the Future, the David Cronenberg film from a few years ago. Not his original Crimes of the Future, this is the new one with Viggo Mortensen and Lea Seydoux and Kristen Stewart. It's a really good film about body mutation and art, and how people react to mutation, how people react to catalogue mutation in a world that seems to be evolving in a strange way. Like, some parts of it is dying, some parts of it is becoming old-fashioned, and some parts are developing new technology, and humanity is going in a different direction, and no one's quite sure if it's good or bad, and no one's quite sure what side they should be on, even if they're the mutants, they're not quite sure what side they should be on. It's much more complicated than a Marvel film would do when they deal with mutants as X-Men. This one is much quieter and is much more probing about what you'd really be like. So yeah, it's a wonderful film. Again, ahead of its time, probably like most Cronenberg will be understood in 20 years' time. Next is Dark Star, the John Carpenter debut, written by Dan O'Bannon with Carpenter. There was various behind the scenes stuff with O'Bannon and Carpenter. Carpenter said it went from being the most expensive looking student film to be the least expensive looking professional film when it was released. He's kind of has mixed feelings on it, but I think some of it's got to do with the professionalism of it, because it's obviously a low budget film and it was meant by a student film. And but I think it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful film no matter what Carpenter feels about it, but the level of probably effects and what's in it. I still think it's wonderfully done. It's got a great atmosphere. It's got a great sense of grumbling in the future. It influenced Red Dwarf, and it's influenced a lot of films, dystopian films, onwards. I mean, basically, this was like the start of the 70s dystopian film. This film really seemed to be like the one that cemented an attitude. They were getting thrown away with Star Wars, but always kind of crawled back into like Blade Runner and things like that. This was kind of ahead of its time into Alien. Alien took a lot from this because Dan O'Bannon wrote Alien and this. So there was a lot of influence on the future of science fiction from this film. And it is just wonderful, really funny, really smart and intellectual in lots of ways. So it's a beautiful film. Next is Empire Strikes Back. It's a wonderful Star Wars film. There's 3 Star Wars films on this list. I was going to just try and do one film from a series, but then I sod it. Star Wars, I'm doing 3 of them. I don't need to talk about it much. Everyone's seen Empire Strikes Back. It looks gorgeous. It's a great middle chapter. It's wonderfully done. Go watch it. I saw it in the cinema. I'm old enough to have seen it in the cinema. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. Next is Escape from New York, the John Carpenter, Kurt Russell film. Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken, is thrown into New York to rescue the president. It's always about the atmosphere of like a world gone paranoid and mad, kind of like our world. I mean, the way things are just now, do you really not see them like making New York a prison, throwing the prisoners there? That's a Trumpian idea. Let's face it. It feels very much of now, about the kind of craziness of the world, and Snake Plissken's a great character because he's seen the world and has become completely cynical about it. It's like, there's no hope for humanity, why even bother? It's a great character for a world that's utterly cynical, so yeah, it's wonderful. Just a wonderful film. Next is Existence, the Cronenberg film. Beautiful film about virtual reality and narratives we create in our mind, narratives that were imposed upon us by the outside world, how we can see ourselves in different ways and different senses of play throughout our lives, and how we can change and evolve, become one thing then the opposite. So it's not just about virtual reality, it's about the reality of how people are and how people are both messed about by technology and how they can evolve with technology and reimagine technology into their own way of thinking, and how it never really stops. So there's lots of stuff going on in this film. And I think now it's getting its due. It was like viewed as a kind of not the Matrix when it came out, but now it's got its audience. It's really wonderful. Next is Fantastic Planet, the French animated film. I don't know how to explain this one. Just go watch it. It's the best thing. It's beautiful. It's wonderful science fiction. Very French. Very dreamlike. Is it? Was it Polish? I cannot remember. It feels like it's like this. It's very European. It's the best way to put it. For some reason, I think it's also this Polish thing in it as well, but it's also French. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it is just wonderful. Speaking of French, we have The Fifth Element, Luc Besson film. It's daft as a brush. This is a kind of the guilty pleasure of sci-fi elements where Yeah, the science is not taken too seriously, but it is giving you a pulp world that you would get in like the 30s magazines, like on screen, and you've got a lot of humour, a lot of dark humour, with Gary Oldman as the villain. Bruce Willis understanding exactly what Tony's Emily based on film, and it's just wonderful. Mila Jovovich, this is her star vehicle. This is the one that brought her to the limelight, to at least star in lower budget sci-fi movies. She's great in this one. Everyone's terrific. Everyone's having a lot of fun. It's one to be seen, but don't take too seriously. Next up is another one in that space fantasy elements, Flash Gordon, the Mike Hodges film, which does not take itself seriously at all. But again, it's that old world of science fiction that it presents and has a lot of fun with. And it's a gorgeous looking film. Wonderful to look at. Go watch it. I've talked about it enough over the years, so it's like, I don't want to keep going on at it. Next is the Bernard Rose Frankenstein, which there are some Frankensteins I would say is horror. Like, the James Whale Frankenstein's a monster movie. This one, Frankenstein's a science fiction movie in a sense of it's about the creature. It takes place about the second half of the book where the creature's been born and it's going through the world and it's learned to adapt and try to figure out what's the meaning of its existence. That's what this version is. It's wonderful, but it does feel less of a monster movie, more science fiction. But it's great. It's really great. And it's a wonderful example of science fiction. It's also a good idea that Frankenstein can be done as a horror movie or science fiction movie. It doesn't have, it's both, but you can adjust it from what kind of film you're making. Next is Gravity, which is the film, another film by the director of Children of Men, whose name I will not even try and say just now because I'll butcher it. I've been talking for a while. This one's wonderful. Sandra Bullock is a person who's suffering from grief, who's an astronaut. The space shuttle gets wrecked and she has to try and survive within gravity to get back to a ship, to find an escape pod to get back down to Earth. And it's wonderful. It ends up in like the space station and back to find different things. It's hard to explain the plot because the plot's really simple. It's just a few technical things to get home, but everything's done like in detail of this is how hard it is to do this, rather than a lot of films, I can do it in 2 minutes, it's fine. And this one, no, this is really hard to do this. Now we're going to show you how hard it is to do this. It's shot in 3D. It looks beautiful. Optimally, it's best to see it in 3D if you can. But see whatever we can. It's only 90 minutes, so it keeps its running time down. It keeps an experience, so it's a wonderful film. Next is Hard to Be a God, the Russian film where it takes place on an alien planet, but everyone looks like Middle Ages. So Hard to Be a God is just about the experience of being in a world that feels like it's in the past, but it's actually the future. And it's about how humanity just basically can evolve or devolve depending on the circumstances. And it's typically a Russian film that has humanity, you know, it's a reason to be depressed, is the best way to put it. So yeah, it's a wonderful film. Go watch it. Okay, next is High Life, the French film. Stars Robert Pattinson, Juliette Binoche. It's a hard one to explain. It's an atmosphere film in a sense of it's about bringing up a child in space, and it goes back and forward in time, and it's a French film. It's an experiential film, and just watch it. It's one of those films I can't explain really. It's just like I remember finding it was wonderful when I watched it. I've not watched it since, but well, it's just that thing of it is one of those experiential films, really, rather than the actual plot. Next is The Incredible Shrinking Man, the Jack Arnold film. It takes a fantasy idea, really. It's a fantasy idea, but it's done in the science fiction feeling of a guy gets through a first fog and he starts to shrink. And it's a bit of psychological and physical change as he has to accept his circumstances as he's shrinking and smaller and smaller, where suddenly the house cat becomes a danger. So it's shot, it's a fantasy idea, but it's shot like a science fiction film, and it's like, what will happen to me? And he's trying to be rational about it, and it's just like this wonderful idea of taking an absurd idea and taking it seriously. And it's a wonderful film with just great atmosphere as the guy gets smaller and smaller and gets to deal with worse circumstances and more panic. So yeah, it's just it's wonderful. Next is Interstellar. Another one that's difficult to explain. They're trying to find a new planet to go to because Earth's dying. Christopher Nolan directed it. They try and do it without much CGI, and it's a really wonderful film. It's mainly about family over time. That's really the kind of emotional attachment, really, very much like Arrival, and it's just got this wonderful feel to it that's I think a bit underrated, really, of the Nolan films. At least for me, it is. Next is Invasion of the Body Snatcher, the Don Siegel one. Beautiful film. Your neighbours aren't your neighbours. They're really aliens. We're very much a 50s political commentary. You got it from Invaders from Mars as well. But this is the granddaddy of paranoid sci-fi movies. It's wonderful. The Philip Kaufman one's great too. So is the Abel Ferrara one. Ignore Invasion, the Nicole Kidman one. Next, Iron Giant. Brad Bird, his first film, animated film. It's a beautiful film. 50s nostalgia. It's just lovely. You probably notice I'm going through them a bit quicker now because I realise I don't want the video to be 5 hours long. So yeah, it's a beautiful film. I'm sure I've talked about it in the past. It's a must see. A great example of 90s animation. Vin Diesel plays the giant. And again, he's really good at voiceover. In the right part of voiceover, he can really work. La Jetty, the Chris Marker film, there was inspiration for 12 Monkeys, but this is better. This is just a beautiful film because everything's just compressed into a short time period. It's so beautiful. Just see it. Go see it. Next is The Man in the White Suit, Alexander McKendrick film about a guy who invents a white suit that will not actually get dirty, which means it doesn't need to be replaced. It's just like it's a perfect invention, but it'll put the industry out of business, which is a problem. So it's just about the kind of the way business actually works. Is like they want things that work well enough, but it also means you have to rebuy them every so often. And it's a joke about industry, and it's really witty and really funny, and it's moving. It's just a wonderful film. Next is The Matrix, the Wachowskis. I like The Matrix and I like the sequels as well. The sequels get a bad rap as far as I'm concerned. I adore the Matrix sequels too, despite their flaws. The Matrix was the first one. That was the kind of granddaddy of that kind of cyberpunk late 90s era. I mean, there's other films at the same time, like Dark City, that got praised. There's other ones that weren't so good. I mean, it was all part of a period where Truman Show and everything else. This kind of weird dystopian thing. The Matrix actually still holds up really well, and I think it went through a period, I think, where it became underrated because everyone was so sick of talking about it. Now I think it's getting back to, The Matrix was really good. So yeah, it's beautiful. Next is Melancholia, Lars von Trier film. Beautiful film. Kirsten Dunst is the lead. It's all about depression and symptoms of melancholy. And a planet comes close to Earth called Melancholia, which is almost a metaphor for this depression that affects people with depression. It's a beautiful film. It's more fantastical than sci-fi in some ways, but I think it's got the right level of seriousness that makes it feel like a science fiction film. But yeah, it's a beautiful film. Next is Midnight Special, another one with Kirsten Dunst. She's a supporting part in this one. A young boy has special powers. His father is trying to protect him from government agents trying to track him down. It's a beautiful mood piece about parenthood and about what the government wants from us. Very influenced by early Spielberg, like Sugarland Express and Duel and things like that, and Close Encounters. It's a lovely film. Very underrated. Next, Pacific Rim, the Guillermo del Toro giant monsters versus giant robots movie. This is another one that's in the pulp section of sci-fi, and it's glorious. I watch this about once a year. It's wonderful. I just have so much fun with this one. Yes, you can write the plot in the back of an envelope quite easily. It's not about the plot. It's about the world is set up, and all the actors are game. All the actors know exactly what kind of part they're playing, and it does have some emotion as the film goes on as well. But it's also got some great action scenes. But it doesn't overdo the action. And the action's specific, so it means that you can rewatch and enjoy it rather than just being busy work. But I've talked about that film a lot, so I'll go into the next one. Paprika, the animated film I covered recently. It's wonderful, but it's into dreams, and it's a beautiful film. It's that thing is it's probably the best film about dreams because it has the fantastical element, but also has a science fiction element of them trying to control dreaming, use it for therapy and do all that with it, but also it allows it to get into what we dream, what does it tell you about us in waking life, and what does it tell us about us and our ambitions in life. So I think it's a very much complete film. And he used the form of animation to do things that was too expensive in real life to do, and be too weird to do in a big budget film, so it can use animation to get the ideas across. So it's a beautiful film. Then there's Planet of the Vampires, Mario Bava film. Again, pure pulp. Very much an inspiration for Alien, as long as At the Turf Beyond Space also an inspiration for Alien. You've seen both of those films, Planet of the Vampires and At the Turf and Beyond Space. You've got Alien, really, in lots of ways. This is a wonderful film because it's not really an alien film beyond that. It's just the atmosphere of a dead race on an old planet, and Bava doing a lot with special effects. It's a wonderful film. It's just like, I'd rather watch this over Alien any day of the week. Because I like that old-fashioned style more. Next is Primer. The time travel movie, Shane Carruth. Hard to explain this one. You have to see it and then rewatch to try and understand some of it. It's wonderful, but very confusing. Next is Quatermass in the Pit, the film version from Hammer. It's the old TV show version is also terrific. The film version is a more pruned down. You lose certain elements, but it's still done really well, and it's got a great sense of mankind being trapped by violence from ancient times to modern times. It's a typical Nigel Neal bit of cleverness about what's affecting mankind at the moment, but using science fiction to deal with it. So it's a wonderful film, a great plot. It's been ripped off a million times since. Yeah, so it's wonderful. Next is Repo Man, Alex Cox's debut. It's a wonderfully absurd film about these repo men who end up tracking down this car to be repossessed that's got an alien inside it, and it's just wonderfully absurd. All about crazy 80s American, how Reaganism just sapped people's souls and just made them think of money and how dull it all is, and all about the punk scene trying to escape all that, and just a sense of just a society that's just let itself be degraded into the most pathetic ways. Speaking of which, RoboCop. It's another film of the satire of the 80s, which is about how we degrade ourselves in various ways of technology and how the corporations want to make lives just horrible and just slave to money. And the ultimate slave is RoboCop himself, a cop who's been shot up and becomes a machine that enforces the law. And then he starts to remember his past life and wants to hunt down the guys who killed him. It's a wonderful film, really satirical, great action movie where you care about the lead character, the supporting characters, but also you can step back and see the absurdity of his situation. So it's just a wonderful film all around. Then there's A Scanner Darkly, Richard Linklater's adaptation of Philip K. Dick. Another film about how to survive in an absurd world that doesn't care about your existence, and the police state, and how everyone's just out for themselves, and whether it be hippies or the police, everyone's got their own agenda. The drug dealers have as much an agenda as anyone else. It's just a great paranoid film. It's a very sad film with a great cast, all doing great work, and it's got a very scoped animation over it, so it's real but not. So you see the actors coming through, but you can also see the kind of animation style of it's not quite reality. So it's wonderful. Next is Shivers, a Cronenberg film, his feature film commercial debut. It's a science fiction horror about a scientist who creates this creature that infects people and makes them sex maniacs. He thinks that humanity has become too civilized and too intellectual and has ignored its animal side. But of course, this infection actually makes it so that people will have sex with anybody. And that's where it gets really disturbing. So Cronenberg really pushes the envelope in this film, and it's a terrific film, but it's not for everybody. Some of the effects are a bit 70s, but some of them are still very disturbing. I remember watching this with some friends, and they were like, really, like, what the hell are we watching? It was like, this one's a bit different. Next is Solaris, the Tarkovsky version. Although I like the Soderbergh version too. The Tarkovsky one, though, is the great one. A scientist goes to this planet Solaris where the crew have gone mad. He's trying to investigate the planet and the crew. That's all I'm going to say. It's wonderful, but it's all about madness, about guilt, and about how we see people. And other people we see, do we see a real person, or do we see our invented version of that person? So it's a wonderful film. Now we go into my favourite Tarkovsky, Stalker. About this stalker who takes these guys into the zone to get to the centre of the zone to actually find what's the centre of it. And one's an intellectual and one's more cynical, and it's about these guys who think they're worldly, talking to each other as they go towards the ultimate knowledge and how it affects them and how they view themselves and each other and how they view the world. And it's about Russia and how Russia's got very depressed and how it can no longer feel joy. So it's all about our state of mind in the modern world and how we can't really feel magic of life anymore. So it's a Russian film. So now we're on to these two Star Wars films. We have the original Star Wars, the 1977 version. Still wonderful, still holds up great. I've seen it too many times at this point. It's like I'm going to watch it every few years now. If that, it's like I've seen it too many times as a kid. Then the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which is the fall of Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader, which is it's the best of the prequels. It's a wonderful film about the rise of fascism. It's got its flaws, but the good stuff really delivers. And the ending's terrific. And it's a really good sci-fi movie. Like, people kind of barge on at the prequels, but it's like they make it all better than the Disney stuff. And they actually do have a story. And yeah, they're clunky, but Star Wars is clunky overall, so just go with it. Enjoy the good stuff and don't worry about it too much. Now we go for satire with Starship Troopers. The Verhoeven satire about militarism and American might and how America likes to fight any battle you don't need to fight. And yeah, it's just based a bit the military industrial complex and how America needs to find an enemy even though there's none there, and how it will sacrifice its own children to all its youth to war, as many supposedly developed countries do, and most cultures do ultimately. So it's about humanity at its worst. Well, present it as a why we fight film, where it's like all the characters are. It's almost a propaganda film where all the characters are too good looking, too happy, and then halfway through it becomes a Verhoeven film where they all get ripped apart. So there's lots of levels to this film. It's wonderful. And probably too sarcastic for the initial audience. Next we have Superman 2, the Richard Lester theatrical cut. Which he shot a lot more of this film than people think. A lot of people say, "Oh, Richard Donner did most of it." It's like, no, he didn't. He left after so much was shot and a lot was reshot, and the Donner version is much better. Not the Donner version, the Lester version is much better. The Donner version is very flawed. If you see it, the version they put out is very flawed, and it's like that would not have been a good film. The Lester version's funnier, it's more human, and it's just a wonderful satire on superhero films. Well, superhero films were in infancy, but also has a good central love story. There's some good jokes in Niagara Falls. There's Terence Stamp's having a lot of fun playing Zod. This film is very influential in the superhero mode because the first Superman introduced the character, but the plot wasn't great. This one actually have a decent plot and they have pace and they have a lot of fun with it. So this was like how to do a superhero film. And it's a fun sci-fi movie about aliens among us. So yeah, Superman 2 is wonderful. Of the other Superman films, I'd recommend Superman Returns, which is not popular nowadays, and the new James Gunn Superman. Now to Terminator. The Terminator, also like Terminator 2, but the original Terminator I adore. It's a great sci-fi movie, action movie, with a time travel set up that the time loops in an interesting way. It's one of those things, it did not need a sequel. They got a really good sequel, and then it got a lot of bad sequels. But it did not need a sequel. It's self-contained, and it still holds up even now. It's got a great love story, some great characters, and puts so many of its, like, you know, imitators to shame. Because it actually has humanity and feeling to it amidst the shootouts. Next in our satire, The 11, John Carpenter film, all about how the rich are Republicans who are aliens who are sucking the planet dry, and you know, and Roddy Piper, the wrestler, gets these glasses to show him that all these people are aliens, and him and Keith David have to fight them. It's a wonderful film. It's ridiculous, it knows it, but also is serious and knows it. So it uses the science fiction trappings to cover the satire. The satire is so obvious anyway, and it's funny as hell. It also has the one of the most ridiculous action scene is Roddy Piper has to get Keith David to put the glasses on. And it's just wonderful, absurd. And it's all about how people will not, you know, open their eyes to what's obvious to them, but it's also a great wrestling fight as well. So it manages to make a political point and be completely absurd, which is hard to do. This whole film is a great act of like carefully mixing the absurd and the actual politically relevant stuff. It's a wonderful film. Up next is Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger vehicle by Paul Verhoeven. It's the least satirical of Verhoeven's sci-fi movies. Outside of Hollow Man, it's more of a, you know, silly slasher movie. This one's still a good movie. Arnie gets a implant to give him a holiday from himself. It turns out he was originally a secret agent, maybe or maybe not, and he starts to fantasize this amazing plot that may be living or maybe a fantasy, but he doesn't know what's reality and what's not reality, which is what the film always does. So it could be, on one level, the film is about a guy living this fantasy where he becomes a superhero. And another reality is he really is a great secret agent doing this stuff. So you never quite know what is what. And it's a wonderful film. It's just wonderful. It's so funny. And ignore the remake that with Colin Farrell. It's terrible. But this one, even though it's not on the same level as Starship Troopers or Robocop, it's still wonderful. Now there's Tremors, the Ron Underwood film from the early 90s. Monsters under the sand, in basically in the desert, where this town called Perfection, these inhabitants starting to get taken out one by one by these these monsters. It's a wonderful throwback to 50s monster movies, but it also has great characters, has great suspense sequences. It's a perfect way to do a throwback movie. Kevin Bacon stars in it with Fred Ward. They have a great double act. And it just works. It works on repeat. Even though even if you've watched it 20 times, it still works because the characters work. The situations work. It's just a perfect throwback monster movie. And it's just beautiful. And it's such a great nostalgic sci-fi movie. Now we go to something much more modern with Under the Skin. That's Scarlett Johansson. Jonathan Glazer directed it. But this alien going through Glasgow. And she's like interacting with all these men. And, seemingly killing them after going to this weird space. It's a strange film. It's hard to explain. And it's a bit just this observation of humanity in this industrialized city from this alien. And what it's about, I'm not quite sure, but it's just wonderful. It's just this thing is like, it feels like it's operating a lot of the subconscious about what we see of men see of women and women see of men, and and what we see of other people, and it's just a strange film. My friend Ian was actually an extra in this film. I only found that out about 2 months ago. So, there you go. So, it's a wonderful film. Next is Until the End of the World, the longer 5-hour cut. I saw this in the cinema when it first came out, and it's Wim Wenders starring William Hurt, Sam Neill, and a bunch of German actors. Also stars Max von Sydow. It's about a guy who is going around the world recording these images in this special camera, and he's trying to help people see. Like, the idea is you take these images of the past and you put them into people's cortex, and actually lets the brain see images again. Even though they're not perfect images, it's something to see. Because this guy's doing it for his mother, who's blind. And it's a wonderful film because it goes into dreams after that. Like, the thing is, this technology can also record your dreams as well. And it's also, it's taking place when it's 1999 and think the satellite's going to hit and there's going to be like an explosion and all the world's going to actually lose all its electricity. And it's just this wonderful atmospheric film, but the end of the world, but also it could be a new beginning. It's what you're going to make of the world. It's a fun film in the theatrical cut. It's a bit too short though. You feel it's a much longer film, and then you see the longer version. It's like, yeah, this is the film it should have been. This is just a more leisurely film where you get all the beats and it all works a lot better. I mean, William Hurt's a bit cold in the lead, but it doesn't matter ultimately because the character's a kind of repressed character. So it is a terrific film. I highly recommend it, especially the longer version. But it was hated at the time. This is Wenders' follow-up to Wings of Desire, and it was hated. It was a massive bomb. But thankfully, it's now getting some respect because it was ahead of its time. Now we have Upstream Colour, another Shane Carruth film. Another film I'm not trying to explain, just go watch it. It's about alien infection and how people connect or not connect in the world. I'm not even trying to explain it. Just go watch it. It's wonderful. And then we have Videodrome, the Cronenberg film, all about how we take in images and how we can be manipulated by images and how we kind of create the world inside our head and how it can be used by either government or ourselves to transform ourselves. And it's all about how the body and flesh will mutate with technology. It's full of ideas. There's so many ideas in here that people didn't know what to make of it when it first came out, because Cronenberg, being Cronenberg, threw tons of ideas in there. And stars James Woods. Is just a terrific film. It's now viewed as a classic, which always was, but now people actually understand it as a classic. Next is WALL-E, the Pixar movie, which is just a wonderful film about a robot abandoned on Earth that's been destroyed by pollution. It ends up in space, it gets a connection with this other robot and ends up following this other robot in space and finding the humans in space who are all out of shape and fat, and you know, as humanity indulging itself so much it's actually become a problem. So it's a terrific film. You know, I also recommend Up and Inside Out as well, as from Pixar, for like sci-fi, you know, animated films. I mean, Up's one of my personal favourites, but a class of more fantasy than this. This one is more of the veneer of science fiction than Up. Up's more of a nostalgia thing. So, but it's just my kind of what I class things as. Finally, The Woman in the Moon, which is a Fritz Lang film all about space travel. Now, you probably would expect me to do Metropolis. And while Metropolis looks good, I don't particularly like Metropolis. I think it's a bit stiff. I'm a big Fritz Lang film, but Metropolis is the one that always kind of is the one that I'm thinking it's a bit simplistic. Woman in the Moon, even though some of the science is wrong, it does have a great atmosphere, and it is just a wonderful film, and it's a nostalgic film for a time before space travel, what they imagine space travel as, and it's just wonderful. It's a nice film to go back to. So I hope you enjoyed this video. These are all my choices. You know, it is what it is. I hope you go to the list and see the full list, and you know, because as in Letterboxd, I have made up my own Letterboxd. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all later. Right, bye for now.